Welcome to Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattheo's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Borough in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Sportsline. It's live streaming on a Monday night before the trading deadline, or on videotape on a Thursday night after the trading deadline. We span the globe here. Mike Pavlik here, George Guido alongside tonight. Bob Tattern has the night off, spending this gorgeous evening at home with his wife, and
I don't blame him.
And having dinner. And Bob is watching, I'm sure, this evening on his computer. So hello, Bob. George, there's a lot going on. The trading deadline, as we mentioned, is fast approaching for baseball. The Steelers have gotten to camp. They hit this afternoon in practice. Hopefully, they did it without losing anybody. There's been a rash of injuries already around the league, and no one's even had any contact in practice yet. So all of those things are happening, and I know you're getting started with high school football already. It's right around the corner, so there is plenty to talk about out there.
Well, there sure is. And, you know, when was the last time? I think we have to go back to 1974, Mike, when we had less attention paid to the opening several days of Steeler camp than right now. It's been relegated to the back burner because of the way the Pirates have come on now with such a fantastic season. And I really think, Mike, they have to make a move to keep this thing going, because I just can't see a scenario where they could get away with so many strikeouts and so many times they're not putting the ball in play.
And that's why I might be a little bit different than a lot of the people who are looking for that middle of the order guy, like an Alex Rios or Hunter Pence. And I love Hunter Pence. I want to get that out there. I'm not the biggest Rios fan in the world. But two places where they could go that would really improve their team, and the first one that not a lot of people are talking about is shortstop. Eric Ibar's been made available by the Angels. Now, he has a nice ticket, and Bob Nutty would have to sign off on that, and you always know that could be interesting. But there, possibly Alexi Ramirez of the White Sox. Those are two young shortstops that are available. Ibar's won a Gold Glove. He doesn't strike out. Yeah. And these are guys that could help you maybe at the top of the order as far as getting on base goes. Now, not walking a lot, but they have decent enough batting averages, better than what you have in the two-hole most of the season already. And then Norichika Aoki of the Milwaukee Brewers is an outfielder who is just a pest. When they play the Pirates, he's always on the bases.
Perfect leadoff hitter.
You could completely reconstruct the top of your batting order if you made two of those moves. Everybody else gets pushed down, which deepens your batting order. It puts Marte in the second half of your batting order, that he doesn't have to necessarily worry about getting on base, and you can just let her fly. And you first and third teams to death with all that speed that you would then have. So, there are other ways to go about this. And the one thing I know about Neil Huntington is that all the rumors that you hear, very rarely does that become a trade in his case. That he's going to pull, we're going to get blindsided here.
The Wandy Rodriguez thing last year
came out of nowhere. And a great deal.
Yeah.
What a good deal that was. And we're going to get blindsided here. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. Like the Travis Snyder trade. That was a blindsider. Nobody saw that coming, right? Sure.
He hit 3 home runs in the 9 previous games with Toronto before he came to Pittsburgh, and he's hit 4 since.
Yeah, he hit 1 the rest of last year. My joke was we were sitting around the fire during the winter reminiscing about Travis Snyder's home run.
Well, it's time we do the rules and regulations. We have a full boatload of calls here that are waiting.
Excellent. You can win a prize every other week per household. You can win a grand salami prize or the mystery profile only once per calendar month. You know who you are out there. You can try the mystery profile once a calendar month, 724-236-0430. Your multiple choice time limit is 15 seconds, the grand salami is 20 seconds, and the mystery profile, we go clue by clue, and we try to keep those moving. First time callers, 2 or more prizes with a correct answer. Anyone that has not called or has been in the audience in a year, you kind of regain your first time caller status. And the answer is at www.doubledribblebob.com. As always, Bob will arm you with the answers to the questions and then make it a little easier for you. And Bob's radio show, as always, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. on WAVL, 910 on your AM dial. Yes, AM still is there. It still exists.
It's there, and I like listening to AM. I know I'm a dinosaur, but I enjoy being a dinosaur.
I remember the days when you'd have a big series like this coming up with the Pirates, and not all the games were on TV then, and especially home games weren't. And people would be out on their back porches with the radio listening to Bob Prince, or even later on in the Milo Landy days listening to the games. And it was a big deal. And they're going to have a possibility, I saw, that all 4 of these games all 4 nights are going to be sold out.
Yeah, very possible.
So the cha-ching, by the way, Mr. Nutting, if you're thinking about cheaping out on who you're going to let your general manager go get.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Let's get to our first break, and then we're going to hit the lines because we have all kind of calls out there. 724-236-0430 is the number for those of you watching on streaming tonight. If you want to give us a call, you can do that. And we will be back with more of Sportsline right after this.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
Why do Arnold Furniture's customers continue to come back year after year? Maybe it's the personal touch that the Miller family has provided since 1975. Maybe it's the prices that are consistently lower than the competition. Or how about the selection? 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. Plus free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. The choice is obvious. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Register now for the tuition-free tax school at Liberty Tax Service in Natrona Heights and at the Katanning Walmart. Flexible schedules, convenient locations, and fun classes which qualify for continuing education credits. Call today. Classes start September the 9th. Phone 724-230-8000. That's 724-230-8000. Liberty Tax Service of Natrona Heights with full accounting service and open all year round.
All right, George, we have callers on the line, so we want to get to it, and we'll go right down the list. I believe Paul is first because Paul's under the weather and he didn't want to infect us all, so he stayed home.
Well, how good of him. We can't miss this Pirate series being in sick bay.
Exactly. I'm sure he's really thrilled about it, too. So, Paul, you're first in the store.
Hey, I'll be watching. Is the game on ESPN tonight too?
I think it's
Not
on.
that I know-
I think
yeah,
Wednesday it might be.
Yeah, Wednesday it is for sure, but tonight I'm not sure.
Right. Did any of you happen to go to the Freeport Invitation this week?
Yeah, I went Thursday night for the Old Timers game and Saturday night for the USA International game.
So who were
I
some?
heard it was a lot of people there, and big success.
Yes, it was very well attended the nights I was there, and until that last day, they weren't plagued by rain as they usually are. I can't believe it. If there's ever a drought, just schedule the Freeport Invitational.
It's like the arts.
You get
it's like the arts festival.
Yeah. But it was nice. I talked to a couple of real nice guys at that USA International game. This youngster from Brampton, Canada, outside of Toronto. He really was impressive on the mound Saturday night. And he told me after the game, you know, he wants to get some attention, get a scholarship, and come down to the United States and play college ball. And he's on a travel team during the regular season. He says he knows his way around to Peace Bridge, that they come down into upstate New York and so on to play in tournaments. So again, a success. And boy, to those folks over there, Paul, you know as much as anybody, they put in the time and effort all year round to plan this thing, and it was great.
Right. Yeah, and I remember when Freeport had the Soapbox Derby every year, and I think they ceased doing that.
Boy, that goes back.
Yeah, that's going back a ways. What'd they do, roll it down High Street or what? You have your choice of hills coming into Freeport.
I never was there for that, but I've always heard, when I was there a couple of days last year, that's what some of the people were mentioning, that, you know, I guess they're trying to get it back or something, you know.
We used to cover the Freeport Invitational here back in the day, you know, back in the late 90s. We used to have games on, and boy, that was some of the most fun we ever had. I know it was rough for the crew. Some of the having to you know, get all the cameras and everything together to do a baseball game can be kind of tough. And we could only do games either at either down in Arnold or at 18th Street Field or at Freeport
itself downtown.
Right, and we did some games there, and we had a game with Japanese players down there playing, and I remember getting a nice flag of the Canadian flag pins from one of the Canadian teams. I get to do sidelines, go back and forth and interview people and whatever. And I remember there was a Georgia. I always wondered about this. There was a team from Brooklyn that we had, one of the games down in Arnold, and a lot of the kids, many of the kids, really didn't speak that very good English. No, a lot of Spanish-speaking kids there, and I always wondered, putting the timing together, if Pedro might have been one of those kids.
You wonder.
Yeah, I think Pedro might be a Bronx guy, though.
Yeah, he was up in the Bronx. He wasn't a Brooklyn guy.
He wasn't a Brooklynite, but it was a lot of fun, and the kids, you know, have a lot of fun doing it, because one of the best things about baseball is getting to travel around and play in the summertime. You get good weather, you get to see the world, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would like someday to go out to Williamsport for the Little League World Series.
Oh yeah, if you have a chance to, I recommend it highly.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that it's you know, a great place, and it takes about 3 hours to get out there.
Yeah, closer to 4 hours maybe.
Okay.
If you drive like me, you can get up there in about 3 hours and 15 or so. But yeah, it's a great atmosphere. Now, the early games, you can just kind of walk in, but for the late games, when everything is decided, the semifinals and the finals, there is no admission, but you need a ticket to get in. Sounds kind of strange to say, but you have to have a ticket, though it is free. And this is how smart the Little League people are. They lowered the seating capacity this year because they put all chairbacks in. Before, they had some chairback seats, and most of it were bleachers. So the seating capacity will be down a little bit this year, but you know, those geniuses, they'll think up something. They'll outthink themselves eventually with this whole thing. But they'll be, you know, it's still, I highly recommend, especially the early games when there's still a lot of teams alive. It's a great atmosphere.
How are prices for concessions and things like that? Are they pretty reasonable?
Yeah, it's not like a pro ballpark, not like PNC Park or Three River Stadium, but you know, it's still quite reasonable. You could take a family there and not
that's good.
You don't have to get a bank loan.
I have never been, but that's on my list. I have heard, as far as concessions go, that the Masters is unbelievable. They may charge you an arm and a leg to get in there, and you may have to sell your firstborn to actually get a ticket to get in, but then they charge you $1 for a hot dog and hand you a Coke for nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, they really are just unbelievable. Yeah, they're just unbelievable on concessions down there in some places. Yeah. If they really want to take care of you, we'll do that. So, Paul, are you eligible tonight? What's your status?
Yes, I haven't won anything, and I think first week in July, so I'm just eligible for the multiple choice.
Okay. You ready to go?
Yes.
Let's do it. Here we go. Multiple choice for Paul. We'll start tonight with number 6. And here we go. Name the first player to hit his 500th career home run in the role of a pinch hitter. The first player to pinch hit his 500th career home run. Eddie Murray, Gary Sheffield, Ken Griffey Jr., Manny Ramirez.
Just a guess, Ken Griffey Jr.
That is not the answer. The answer is Gary Sheffield, now, of course, an esteemed agent. Chuckle. I believe he's Jason Grilly's agent, George. Is that? I believe that is true, that when Grilly was trying to negotiate his deal at the winter meetings last year, that he and Gary Sheffield were seen through the wee hours of the morning in the lobby of the hotel trying to decipher one from the other. And luckily, he picked the Pirates, and we got 30 really good,
out of him, yeah.
really good games out of him before he hurt his arm. And he promised today, Jason Grilly, that he will pitch again this year, that he has
it
vowed
seems
that he'll be
likely
back,
that,
and he said that it's
he'll
more
be back.
muscular in nature than it is the tendon, and they're talking here in the arm instead of back more toward the elbow. So I guess he feels like he's going to be good to go. So hopefully that's the case. Paul, thank you, sir.
Good hearing from you.
Hopefully we'll see you out here again next week.
Okay, I will. Okay, have a good week, guys.
Thanks, Paul.
All right.
All right, we have another call. I believe Terry's on the line. We will take him now. Terry, sir, are you there?
No, I'm not here.
Okay.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're great. How are you?
Pretty good. Was up in Cleveland for the Saturday night game.
Okay.
Oh, was that 1-0 game?
The 1-0 game. That's the first time I've ever seen the first batter for either team decide the game. The second pitch for Michael Bourne of the Indians
was a homer.
Hit for a home run, and that was it.
It was a rocket, too. It was a laser down the line. I was I was watching Quick Pitch very late Saturday night, and I heard Tom Hamilton make the call. It was very nice.
Yeah. They say that's the only time that's ever happened for the Indians in their 113-year history.
And that's amazing. In 113 years, yeah.
Yeah. So we enjoyed that. I wanted to mention something that maybe you know already, maybe you don't, but I just got a little bleep on my cell phone from TradeRumors.com that the Beach Boys and their surf music might be coming to Pittsburgh.
Yes, very interesting.
Brian Wilson, apparently the Pirates are now about the only team chasing him, so they might get him. I guess he's a pure free agent, but I don't know.
He is. He had Tommy John surgery and was not going to be ready to start the season. He got hurt early last year. So he's been, I believe it might have even been April. So he's had over a year to rehab. Now, I'm going to assume that if he is signed, and whoever does sign him, he's probably going to have to go to the minors for a couple weeks to pitch in some games just to get himself ready. But you figure if they sign, here this week, that you figure by mid-August to be ready to help whatever major league team he signs for. I said to somebody, George, earlier this week, I said, I would rather they get the crazy Brian Wilson. It's like, oh, yeah, they both are. They're both nuts. So I guess it really doesn't matter. Hey, how often at this time of the year do you get a chance to really improve your team and really not give up anything except sign a guy to a contract?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what he's going to want. I see the Diamondbacks were originally supposed to be involved.
Yeah, they just dropped out.
They apparently have dropped out. And there's always the mystery team, which is always my favorite thing. I love the mystery team. But, I don't know. Maybe he's going to want next year, too, and maybe a second year onto the deal, which I can understand from his point of view that would be a good move. But I think they should go for it. They're going to, without Grilly for as long as they have him, this is a guy that has closed, and even if he doesn't close, he can sure help you.
Yeah. Alex Rios, I'd stay away from. I think he's on the downside of his career, and I also think he's a cancer in the locker room.
Yeah, I've heard he doesn't try hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Pirates management got off scot-free that Friday night that Rios was benched for not hustling out a ground ball, and the Pirate management could say immediately, aha, our excuse not to go out and get Alex Rios.
Yeah.
Who's the other outfielder for the White Sox with kind of a strange name, Diaz or De La?
Alejandro Diaz.
Yeah.
And he's about 29, which has surprised me he was that old. But he's been playing center, and then Viciedo has been playing left. That's the one that Hawk Harrelson calls Tank. You never knew what his name was because he just calls him Tank. And it's like, here, come on, Tank. I didn't know who he was. It's like, does this guy have a name? Who is this Tank? And it took me like 2 months to put the name together with who he actually was. But
the guy I really want to see them get is Kendrys Morales from the Seattle Mariners, who missed a whole year because he was injured in a home plate celebration with the Angels on a walk-off home run. But one thing I noticed on his stats, he struck out only 74 times this year in 424 plate appearances. So that's only one in about every 6 plate appearances. And for the Pirates, that's...
In this day and age, that's great.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not 1 out of every 4, you don't even belong in the major leagues anymore. I mean, you need to strike out 150 times.
Did you ever imagine we'd ever see anything like this, Terry, where all these teams strike out so much and the people shrug, oh, well, everybody's striking out.
Yeah. Hey, going back to the Indians game, I was sitting up there, I was thinking, here comes their catcher, Jan Gomes, out to the mound to talk to Ubaldo Jimenez, and I'm saying, what language are they speaking in? Because Jimenez speaks Spanish. Jan Gomes is from Brazil, which is Portuguese.
Right.
Yeah. Do they both know English? What are they doing there?
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw something this year on opening day, Terry, that I never saw before. The Cubs brought in a Japanese pitcher, and I don't know that he's with the team now. He might have gotten hurt or they cut him. Well, anyhow, they had a guy in a bullpen with him who was an interpreter, and he jogged out of the bullpen to the pitcher's mound with him, and when the manager come out for a conference before he started his warm-up pitchers, the interpreter was there to interpret things, and they jogged in the dugout with the manager and stayed in there. And I noticed a couple of days later when the same guy came in to pitch, he also, more or less had that escort who would be in the bullpen with him. And I never saw an interpreter in the bullpen with a guy, but I saw it there. So apparently when they want to communicate with him while he's warming up in the bullpen, they needed the interpreter also.
Yeah. The Indians have had interpreters over the years, but I can't ever remember seeing them on the field.
Yeah. And I know the Yankees had it for Matsui, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ichiro has one. And these guys can speak English. It's just that they just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, they're just not confident enough.
And I don't know. But hopefully, when the Pirates bring Mr. Aoki in from Milwaukee, that they bring an interpreter with him too. That's my centerpiece of this whole deal. If they could work out a trade for a guy like that, a top of the order type of guy, and get themselves a shortstop, I think that Huntington has done all he can do. Mm-hmm. And then now we were also looking, Terry, that McHenry's injury is a meniscus, and there's a possibility that in a worst end of something like that there could be surgery. And if that's the case, they may be looking for a veteran backup catcher right now too. Deonor Navarro from the Cubs, George.
Now, there you go.
Not only can this guy be your backup catcher, he is Smokey Burgess as a pinch hitter. And if you really want to improve your bench, that's kind of a way to go.
That would be a guy to get. Terry, the caller we had previous to yours talked about the Freeport Invitational. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but the Japanese kids whom I've talked to speak English very well, and they teach it in the schools over there.
Oh, yeah.
And the mindset of those kids is that if you learn English in school, you have a chance of getting a better job once you get out of school.
Sure.
So it's an interesting perspective, and you were in education, Terry, so you'd be interested in hearing this, how other kids feel educationally about going out and getting a job.
Name the country that has the most fluent English-speaking people.
Well, it's not the United States.
I was going to say they're even considering teaching English in some of the schools in South Florida. So there's a possibility there too.
Let me say Canada or
China.
China. There you go.
Probably same principle there too.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
It makes sense. It's a global economy now, and you're gonna need to learn to deal with it.
Yep. Hey, I think I qualify for a question. I think I won 2 weeks ago.
Well, he won last week.
You won last week, we're hearing.
I'm sorry?
You won last week.
Oh, okay. Then I don't. Okay.
So you're not qualified, but we do appreciate your commentary.
Yeah, it was great talking with you.
I get off and let somebody else get in here. Thanks.
All right.
Always happy to talk Indians with you, one of our other favorite teams. It's it's amazing. We can say we hate Cleveland all we want, but it really never applies to the Indians. We always
We don't. I always like them. I've
Always
been up to
been a fan,
Jacobs Field on how many times, and I
I love
enjoy
the
going
place.
up there.
I just say I feel claustrophobic in there because it's kind of closed in, and then you're really close to the town. But it's a great place, and it's easy to get to, man. That's right off the interstate. It pops you right in there. And
yes, sir.
We're going to be heading up I'm going to see some basketball this year. I'm going to get my first NBA, and I'm very much looking forward to that too. So.
Okay.
All right, Terry. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Looks like it's
break
time
time.
for
I'm
break.
going to say. We want to do that. 724-236-0430 is the number. Anybody out there watching on streaming on Monday night want to give us a call? We do have some open lines. If you'd like to check in with us now, that would be a good thing, and we will get to you as soon as we can. We will take a break right now. We'll check the wires and see if anything more has happened. It's been a very busy day in Steeler land and in Pirate land. So we will check that for you. We'll take our next break, and we will be back right after this.
This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go. Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
Max and his son made their way homeward bound when mischievous rain dropped down, down, down. Safety was threatened by every roguish drip. They slipped and slid. They couldn't get a grip. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding them the right tire changes everything. Stop up to 31 feet shorter than a leading competitor with the new Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
At Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox, you have the luxury of choice. Where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Call Mike Fanto and let Tower Auto Sales' experienced staff help you with the purchase of your next pre-owned vehicle. Remember the slogan at Tower Auto Sales, just buy it. Celebrating 40 years, Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox, 412-828-6202. 40 years in business. That's a winner right there.
Got to be doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, things got to be going in your direction. We have a call. We have a couple calls up there, but we do have room for you too at 724-224-236-0430. I almost went back home. All right, so let's take the next call. I believe the Limo Man is up next. Good evening, Bruce.
How are you guys? Your show. I just gave DoubleDribbleBob.com to John Rooney.
John Rooney from CBS.
He's with the
Cardinals.
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah. John Rooney did a great thing. You want to know what he did? He was the announcer for the White Sox. The White Sox won the World Series. His hometown job of Cardinals announcer came open. He went back to St. Louis, and then they won the World Series. So John Rooney is like the only person in that 2-year period that won back-to-back rings.
Boy, talk about being in the right place at the right time.
It worked out for him.
Incidentally, the Cardinals are staying at the Fairmont.
Where's that, Bruce?
1 block from Heinz Hall.
Oh, okay. You know, they change a lot of those.
Yeah,
the names.
The ownerships kept moving
and you
around.
don't know.
There.
It's like it's not a little bit up from the route, like the route of Roosevelt was. Is that what
I wish the economy was better, that's all.
Yeah. So what's going on?
Bernie Brewer is 40 years old.
Bernie Brewer is?
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. You know what?
I figured that.
If there was really beer in that thing when they played the Pirates, he'd be constantly drunk.
Yeah. And Edward Hood died. Do you remember him?
No.
Edward.
He was a basketball player for Homestead High School.
What's the last name again, Limo?
Hood, H-O-O-D.
Oh, no, not familiar with him.
I don't know him.
He's in Bob Tattern's age category.
He's up there. He wasn't playing when I was in high school then. Is that what we're saying? We missed it.
And there wasn't a Homestead High School when you were...
No, it's still valid.
And Dennis Pita from the Ravens is out for the year.
Yes.
We sort of alluded to some of that earlier, that a lot of guys have gone down. The Broncos have lost their center, Dan Copen, and they had already lost their second and their fourth centers. So they're down to their third center, and they're scouring the streets for an extra person.
Yeah, Dan Copen played his high school ball in eastern Pennsylvania. He also played in the Big 33, so one year when he played for the Patriots, he kept that Big 33 streak alive, so every Super Bowl had at least one Big 33 person.
Are we still in there?
Oh, yes.
Now, who played last year?
I'll think of it while we go on with the conversation.
I remember wanting to check with you about
Gradkowski. The guard, he played
Gino
for LaSalle. Yes, his brother's playing for the Steelers.
Every Super Bowl, there's been someone.
At least one.
Now we're changing. We're going to Maryland now?
Yes.
Ohio's out?
Ohio's out. They have their own gig now that they have in Columbus before they're.
I'm sure Urban wants it his way.
Yes.
Well, for the next, 2
his
years.
Way or no way.
For the 2 or 3 years he's there before he leaves there too.
Yeah.
And they retired Mike Ditka's number 89, you know.
It makes you wonder what took him so long.
Who did?
The Bears are going.
Oh, really?
Yes, the Bears
I just figured it was retired by now.
Can you imagine that? Listen, what took them so long? That came out, and I'm like, do you know what game they're going to do that, Bruce?
The Bears.
Yeah, but I don't know who they're playing. If they're going to wait to maybe they're playing Green Bay or something.
Why not?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
But that's amazing. Why in the world would they have waited so long to actually do that?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Does everybody know the Steelers' schedule? Because I got it here if you want me to read it.
I don't think you got to read it off. I think we're pretty much got. I know the first 4 weeks are going to be. They're opening with Tennessee at home,
and
then
they
they're
go
going
to
to go to Cincinnati,
Kansas City here.
Kansas City here, and then they go to London to play Minnesota before they have a bye week. So,
now, are you going to London, Bruce?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, if Bob Tanner would pick up the tab.
Well, now this is going to be the Steelers' home game, so that would be a Fox telecast, I guess. With the
Vikings. Be in the home uniform.
Right. So I just wondered who might be calling that game. Would they send? They probably
Dick Stockton.
Dick Stockton loves to get the Steeler games and the Pirates games. I know that.
He always talks about KDKA every time I talk to him.
When I was a kid, Dick Stockton was the Bob Pompiani now for Channel 2.
Yeah.
He was very young, and he had a Saturday afternoon talk show, and it was in the very early days of TV.
I remember
that.
As
we in 1967, 68, thereabouts, and Mike, he would take a call, he would press a button, and the person's voice wouldn't be over the air like you have to talk to nowadays.
Like Party Line.
Somewhat like Ed and Wendy King's Party Line. You would hear, and then Stockton would parrot what the person would say, and it was sort of like a two-way conversation with him relating what the person on the phone says. You remember that show, don't you?
Told me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's been around a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He got a beautiful wife, Leslie Bishop.
Yeah, at one time, he was one of the best play-by-play men out there. He was terrific. NBA.
Yeah. Him and Ray Scott.
Oh, Ray Scott was terrific, too. Yeah. Ray Scott did it with the fewest possible words, and I've always admired that because I don't have that.
A native of Connellsville.
Ray Scott?
Yep. What's his name?
Ray Scott.
Yeah, Ray Scott was from Johnstown. So was his brother, who was the announcer for the Purple People Eaters. Hal Scott.
Yeah, we've forgotten about Hal Scott after all these years. But Ray Scott did some work in New Kensington for TCS when they did the Penn State games. I was working there at the time, and we saw a lot of Ray. Great guy.
Oh, it was terrific. He had a program called Countdown to Kickoff.
Yes.
Was on every Saturday on the radio.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
You remember that?
I remember him doing Penn State games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rochelle DeStapp, Strang to hold, Massimo Manca in for the kick.
Yeah.
And his signature call was when he would be with the Packers or whatever, it was nothing more than star, dollar, touchdown. I mean, that's all you needed, right? And he did Minnesota Twins games for a while, too.
That's right.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So,
How about multiple choice tonight, guys?
Let's do it. George, go ahead.
Okay. That's right. We had a one earlier, the Gary Sheffield question. So let's go to the next one for Limo Man. What major leaguer had the most career RBIs without ever winning an RBI title? This guy never led the league in RBIs, but he has the most career RBIs of all time. Is it Willie Mays, Jimmy Fox, Manny Ramirez, or Frank Robinson?
The second candidate.
Jimmy Fox?
Yeah.
No, that is incorrect. It's actually Willie Mays. Willie Mays is the all-time major league leader in RBIs, but he never won an RBI title for a single season.
Okay, I got to give you my thing for the night.
All right. Hey, Limo, good hearing from you.
And
there it goes.
Deep right center field on this fall is for Gino F. Peluso, the king of the attorneys.
All right.
Thank you.
They're always in right center field. They never hit to the left
must
side.
always be left-handed batters or their opposite field hitters.
Hey, before we take our next call, don't forget about our Sportsline Mystery Profile, and it's sponsored by Matteo's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Boulevard in Brackenridge Heights, right along Old Route 28 there. Everything on Matteo's menu is made with quality ingredients, and that could be the reason people proudly pass the word about their great food. Hard-tossed pizza, hand-tossed pizzas, gyro sandwiches, subs and hoagies, calzones and strombolis, wingdings, and more. That's Matteo's Pizza and Subs. They have it all, including the signature Iron Man hoagie. Matteo's, their location now is next to District Justice Bengal's office. Brackenridge Heights, as I said, right along there on Old 28. Give them a call if you want to order ahead, 724-904-7312. Let's go to our next caller. Good evening. You're on Sportsline Trivia.
Hi, Bob. I'm Mike. Hi, George.
Hey, Chris.
Bob's not here tonight. Good hearing from you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a family disaster right now, but I just wondering about the Pirates. Do you think you're going to end up in first or third place, or do you think you're going to end up in third place? Because if they lose this whole series, I think it's going to take them down to third place. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Well, it depends how many.
It depends on what the Reds do out in San Diego, but you know, it wouldn't be a disaster if the Pirates lost all 5, but they would have a lot of ground to make up, so I think they could really be on a slippery slope if they went 0-5. But if they could somehow win, I think, Chris, 2 out of the 5, you know, they would still be in pretty good shape.
You know, here's the thing. The winner of this division is going to end up having to win it again in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that you see it happen all the time in football. It's like you bust your butt and you go for 162 games and you put all the effort into it to win the division. And then chances are, the way things set up right now, as the second and third place team play a 1-game playoff, then you're going to get that team that's already, and you're going to have to win it again. And that's why I'm not so sure that that winning it is going to be that much of an advantage, especially if you have to play a division team. Now, when you're the Pirates and you haven't been there in so long, you're not going to be too disappointed if they say, here's 1 game, go win it. You know, we'll all be throwing a party if that happens. But a team especially like the Cardinals or maybe the Reds, and the Cardinals did this last year. They had to win that 1 game in Atlanta. They're going to want to win the division and get to sit back and wait. Yeah. I think it may be more important for a team like that. And a lot of times what happens, and what has happened in baseball now, is that the hot team that comes up and grabs that wild card spot, as Clint Hurdle's Rockies did, are the one that sweep through, and that you want to be playing your best ball in September, and that's the most important thing, and that's why I kind of think, Chris, that too much is being made of this series. It's important, sure. Yeah. I mean, they just need to win for their own well-being and their own state of mind, I think.
And to get me closer than 82 games, that's still my goal. I realize that the playoffs are there for the taking, but my goal is still 82 victories, and I don't care what the front office says. You have to win 82 games before you can start worrying about winning an 83rd game.
Absolutely.
So how do you think they're going to go as far as that? Do you think they're going to get a wild card at least, or are we going to get a decent place wild card?
Well, we'll have to wait till later in the week. I think if they can make a solid trade, they you know, have a very good chance to go far, but if they're going to go with practically the same team that they have right now later on this week after the trade deadline, Mike, I just don't think they have enough. They strike out too much, and they just don't do enough things well.
The thing that I just can't figure out, and I've never been able to understand with the current group, is that they have a lot of speed. It's not like they're plodding, and you wonder why they can't manufacture more runs. Yeah. Why they can't learn to hit behind the runner. But it comes back to what you said. If you're going to manufacture runs, your outs have to be productive. They don't put the bat on the ball enough, and in situations where, especially, you know, there's Pedro with a guy on third striking out, you know, put the infield's playing back, a ground ball or a fly ball is going to net you a run in that situation. And that's the thing, you know, he's never, listen, in the stand today, and he's 100% right, he's never going to knock in 100 striking out like that. Yeah. No matter how many home runs he hits. I'm not complaining about the guy, trust me. He's put him on his back and carried them through June and most of July. So I have no complaints about Pedro at all. But other than the fact that they just really need to work. And it comes down to having a clue when they get in the batter's box and what the situation is. And so many times they look at that first pitch fastball go right by, and I'm thinking, what are they trying to do?
Talk about manufacturing runs. Bob Tatternoise likes to talk about the Dodgers of the mid-'60s, especially the 65 team. You'd have Maury Wills lead off with a walk. He'd steal second. Jim Gilliam would butt him to third, and then Tommy Davis or Willie Davis with his sacrifice fly and bring him home. You'd have 1 run, and with Koufax and Drysdale or Claude Osteen on the mound, you'd end up with a 1-0 victory without even getting the benefit of the hit. And this year's Pirates team just can't do that.
And maybe it's the 7th game of the World Series. Lou Johnson will hit a surprise home run and win the World Series for you.
The Dodgers in
right?
65 had a team batting average of 245. Yeah. By far the lowest in history of a championship team.
But
so it can be done, Chris.
But that pitching was stifling.
Yeah.
I know it can be done, but how do you think it's going to, the final thing's going to turn up? I don't think the Pirates are going to take it in first. Do you think they're going to be in second or third?
I'll take either.
I'll take either one.
I'll take any of the 3 above. I'll be more than happy with that. And at this point, they just need to play well. They need to get back to playing good baseball. And if they do that, then I think the rest will take care of itself. That's
but
right.
if they win the division at least, do you think Hurdle will still have his job? Because that was one of the threats.
Well, he's signed for next year anyhow.
I will say this. I think if they don't make the playoffs, there's a chance he could be fired. Yeah. I do. All right, Chris, let's move along to your trivia question here. Why don't we get at that, and then multiple choice it is. All right, here we go. This will be question number 8. Who is the only man to play on a World Series winner and on an NBA title-winning team? The only man to play on a World Series champ and an NBA champ.
I'm thinking Michael Jordan.
Well, listen first. Dick Groat, Gene Conley, Michael Jordan, Chuck Connors. Go ahead.
Michael Jordan.
That is not it, Chris. It is Gene Conley, who was a big, tall drink-of-water pitcher. Now, I'm going to say that he would have been pitching for Milwaukee in 1957.
Right, and then he played for the Celtics.
And then he and Pumpsy Green tried to go to Israel, and they left the Red Sox. Was it those two?
Later.
All right, Chris, thanks for calling.
I'll be back with you guys live as soon as everything's handled.
Okay.
You got a deal. Thanks,
good.
Chris. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. All right, we're going to take a break now, and we're going to do that. We have, do we have another call? Yes. Okay, good. Okay. We'll line those up, 724-236-0430. If you're watching on streaming on a Monday night, we have room for you, and we have time for you. So please give us a call if you want to talk about any of this or anything you want. So we will take a time out, and we will be right back.
Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a 4th generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from 2 locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
Register now for the tuition-free tax school at Liberty Tax Service in Natrona Heights and at the Katanning Walmart. Flexible schedules, convenient locations, and fun classes which qualify for continuing education credits. Call today. Classes start September 9th. Phone 724-230-8000. That's 724-230-8000. Liberty Tax Service of Natrona Heights with full accounting service. They're open all year round.
All right, before we get to, we do have a call. Tampa Bay has acquired right-handed pitcher Jesse Crain from the White Sox. Interesting because he's on the disabled list. So they haven't exactly decided on the player or the amount of money that's going to go the other way. They want to wait and see when he comes off and when he's available to go. But Tampa Bay has acquired Jesse Crain, who I thought would have been a nice target for the Pirates, an 8th-inning guy. Throws a lot of curveballs, but he was supposed to have a bullpen session to get himself ready to get back to pitch over the weekend, and they had to shut that down. So the Rays are going to get him, but they just don't know when, and they don't know.
I thought you weren't allowed to trade somebody.
That is supposedly an old wives' tale. I read something about that today, and there is, with the newest collective bargaining agreement, there is no rule that says you can't trade an Indian player.
That explains that.
So it's a let the buyer beware situation right there, and that's why they haven't decided on the compensation. It's going back to the White Sox on that. The White Sox are certainly open for business right now. We talked about a couple of their guys earlier. So we have, I believe Mark Corey is up, and Mark, you are next. Good evening.
Good evening, fellas.
Hi, Mark.
Not knowing what you talked about earlier in the show, did anybody talk about the Alex Rodriguez incident?
No.
We have not.
Because he was on the radio coming to work, he was saying he was supposed to make a decision to appeal, or if he didn't appeal his suspension, and he loses $45 million or something like that?
Well, I think from the way I've understood it, George, and I don't know if you've heard it either, that they were offering him a deal of, and we were here last week when the Ryan Braun thing broke, that he would be suspended for the remainder of this season and the entirety of next season.
Wow.
And that if he didn't take that, then they were going to suspend him for life. And then he would have to then appeal the lifetime ban, and then they would have to go through proper channels there. And it basically the deal is, now I don't know if they gave him a time frame that he had to sign it by, or...
Well, on the radio they were saying it had to be done by tonight,
okay,
one way or the other.
They gave him a deadline. Now, did you hear the same part that I did, that if he didn't take the deal, that they were going to suspend him for life? Is that the way you understood it?
Yes, and yes.
Okay,
But then if he appeals it and loses, he loses $45 million. If he just sits out and takes his punishment, he's still going to be guaranteed to be able to play in 2 years, plus get some money, I guess.
Right. And
yeah, because the Yankees would give anything to be able to avoid that contract.
Yeah. I tell people this all the time. They can't believe what the little song and the dance that's going on right now. Just for the Yankees are trying to keep him off the field. Don't you people realize that? And somebody said to me, well, why would they want to do that? They desperately need a bat. It's like they want rid of him. Yeah. They didn't see. There's a big disconnect between the general manager Brian Cashman and the ownership, the Stein brothers, as I like to call them. And that happened with the Soriano trade this week. Cashman didn't want to make that trade, and probably Hank, because Hal doesn't like to bother with this, but Hank Steinbrenner basically said, no, you get him. And then Cashman has to come out in the papers and say, I didn't want it.
Yeah, because they didn't give up much for him.
Right. They didn't give up anything in the players, but what the Yankees are willing to do in a case like that, they're willing to eat the money. Yeah. So and the Cubs still even paid some of it. Yeah. So, they want him gone. They want the headache gone. And frankly, if he were suspended tomorrow, there would be a party in Yankee Town. Like the Tampa compound would go crazy, the New York compound would go crazy, and they would be so thrilled just to get rid of him, and they just want rid of his act.
How about one for the books where Derek Jeter was welcomed back and he helped win the game yesterday?
I missed it by like
First pitch.
2 seconds.
First pitch, home run.
I missed it by 2 seconds because the Pirate inning was ending, and I flipped it over, and I was so mad I missed it because I'm a fallen down Jeter guy. I got to admit it, and I think that, that he is one of the great players of all time.
No, he doesn't have anything over his head, does he? Like
I've never heard a word, and I hope that he'll be able to get through his career and nothing like that ever happens. There are some people that are your favorites that you just don't want to see the stain on, and he's one of them for me.
Say it ain't so.
I better go for multiple choice. I'm taking up your time.
All right, we appreciate hearing from you.
Mark, anytime. We always appreciate hearing from you.
I didn't get a chance to call last week, so yeah.
Okay. Well, who, Mark? Tell us the first pitcher to defeat all 30 Major League Baseball teams. The first pitcher to own a victory over all 30 Major League Baseball teams. So this obviously you can conclude with somebody that played after 1998, the last expansion. So here are your guesses. Al Leiter, Nolan Ryan, Jamie Moyer, or Randy Johnson?
How about Jamie Moyer?
No, it's Hal Leiter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jamie Moyer is an excellent guess because he pitched almost to his 50th birthday. But Mark, it's great hearing from you.
Yeah, Leiter would have been my second guess. Okay, thank you, fellas. Hopefully I can call next week.
You got it, Mark. Thank you.
Hope to hear from you.
Appreciate it. We have lines open right now if anybody would like to give us a call here. If you're listening on a Monday night and watching on streaming, 724-236-0430, and we will be open for business here. We can take the break if we want to. Before we do, just checking the lines to make sure anything that might be going on. Oakland's moving away from Jake Peavy. We said the White Sox are open for business out there. Jake Peavy is a very good right-handed pitcher when healthy.
Yes.
And Oakland had supposedly been looking. Looks like St. Louis, Baltimore, Boston seem to be the three in for that. I have this dream about Cliff Lee, but I just can't see. It's $25 million a year. I can't even tell them to try to spend that kind of money. I'm not even going there. But could you just you put that in that rotation that's already really good. Notice this yesterday, and we'll take the break and we'll come back and finish up. That the second best ERA in baseball was Cincinnati at 3.36. The Pirates was 3.09. I mean, I can never remember a disparity of that much between number one and number two. Their pitching people think about that. We carry on about their offense so much. how bad their offense has been. Their pitching has been that good.
And they've wasted a lot of good pitching, and yesterday was one of those examples. Hey, we have a caller. We're going to grab that before we go to the break.
Let's take the break, and then we're going to give him, we'll give him time.
Some extra
we'll do
time.
that.
Sounds good.
I believe it's Rich. So we'll take the time out, Rich. You hold on, and we'll give you the balance of the time here, and we'll do that. Our last break on Sportsline, we'll take it, and we will be right back.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox, the place where you have the luxury of choice. Where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Call Mike Fanto today and let Tower Auto Sales experienced staff, 40 years of experience by the way, help you with the purchase of your next pre-owned vehicle. Remember the slogan at Tower Auto Sales, just buy it. Tower Auto Sales, Freeport Road in Blawnox, and give them a call today, 412-828-6202.
And don't forget about my book, Ali Kiski Sports History. It's on sale now, $19.95 at Costello's Printing in Trenton along 5th Avenue across the railroad tracks from Ghetto's Cycle Shop. Also the Klingensmith pharmacy chain here in Armstrong County, Leechburg, Katanning, Freeport, and Ford City. Ali Kiski Sports History. If you're looking for a good summer read, might we suggest that to you. So we have a final call this evening, Mike? All right, we're getting...
Not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Ward Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
All right, now that we've had our book minute.
I would be more than happy to throw my book in there, but I don't have one. I'm a yodeler. I haven't written anything down. Quickly, before we go to the call, it's just coming down that the Diamondbacks supposedly are making Jason Kubel and Ian Kennedy available. I just checked Jason Kubel's numbers. Now, he had 30 homers last year, had a big year for the Diamondbacks. This year, in 231 at-bats, only 5 homers, 27 RBIs, and his batting average is .234. He'd fit right in.
Yes, he would.
So he's going to be a free agent after this year. And the good news on a guy like that, if he's healthy now, is he's probably not going to cost you a whole lot.
Right, and he'll be on a contract move.
Right, and that bat in our stadium, I think could Another thing is that they've been on the road for a long time here over the last 3 weeks or so. It'll be good for them to get home. We could just hope they can make some hay with it against the Cardinals because it's going to be a tough nut to crack. So let's go to the lines. I believe Rich is here. Rich, good evening.
Mike and George, how you doing?
Hi, great.
As much pressure as Mike, you and I have talked about that the hitters whittle under, that's as much pressure as those pitchers handle every night out. I mean,
absolutely.
When you think that you're going to maybe get 2 or 3 runs and that's all you can give up, that's unbelievable the way those guys have pitched every single night out. And, you know, yesterday I was so frustrated. Well, actually I was frustrated most of that series. But it's like watching these guys just swing for the fences. That's all they do. It's like backyard softball. We're just going to swing for the fences on every swing instead of trying to shorten up a little bit, just put the ball in play. And it was just yesterday I was watching it in the first couple innings. That's what they were doing, shortening up their swings, just put the ball in play. Then they start striking out like crazy after all that.
Got away
they're
from
swinging for the fences.
That's what they did. And, you know, it would be one thing if they had a bunch of home run hitters.
Yeah.
They really don't. You know, if you're the Baltimore Orioles, I can buy it. You know, because that's what they have. They're a team built of home run hitters. What the Yankees have been here the last 5 or so years to just put get everybody that they can to get the ball out of the park. And the Brewers recently, before they've fallen on their hard times. But you know, it's not a home run hitting team, and that's what I just don't get. They're just, and I've sat here and talked about it for how many years. It's just having a clue when you get up at the plate about the situation and what you're trying to do, and they just don't.
I don't get it.
Yeah, they don't, and that's, you know, one guy, and again, as George said, and he's 100% right, they need help. They need a guy or two in that lineup.
No Alex Rios. Please do not trade for Alex Rios.
Now, I've heard a lot of people say that, and he's, you know, his reputation precedes him a little bit, and I was surprised that actually Toronto was able to get rid of him when they did.
Well,
right. Right now on this team, what's killing them offensively to me is Starling Marte. I mean, he's doing nothing at the leadoff spot.
Now, I think he'll come back around because he's had slumps like this before, and then he'll turn it around and he'll start to hit again. My two guys to pick on this season have been Walker and Jones.
Yeah.
People are talking about they need a right-handed bat. I think that they need a left-handed bat.
I think they need Walker and Jones from last year, or Jones from last year and Walker the year before.
Even just their career averages for the last 2 months, if they do that and they went out and got 1 or 2 other bats for that lineup, I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine on a piece of paper. Now, are they going to be fine between the years? I'm still not convinced. We're going to have to wait and see.
I'll tell you, yesterday too, I hate to complain about it a lot, but what I can't understand is sometimes these home plate umpires, it's like they decide, you know what, I'm going to squeeze this guy. I'm just going to change my strike zone for this inning. And it seemed like in that inning, I can't remember which one it was, that they gave up 2 runs. He couldn't, I mean, it was just like no matter where he was, he was not going to call a strike. Now, maybe I'm nitpicking, but it was driving me crazy watching that yesterday.
Yeah, that was an irritating inning, and I know that I heard Garrett Cole talk about it after the game, and he was irritated by it too, but mainly because, you know, he'll put things on himself. That kid has been sure beyond his years. I think that the so-called leader of that team could take a few lessons from Garrett Cole. Okay,
now let me ask you a question, because I know you guys got to wrap this up. For what you've heard is out there, are you willing to trade any of our prospects? Because I'm not. For what I've heard is out there, now again, this is all hearsay, but to me, you know, this is how you build an organization. I mean, yes, you have to take chances, and yes, you have to move some guys to get some guys, but for a rental, a 2-month rental, there's no way that I move a Blanco.
You don't usually have to give up that much.
You don't, yeah, and exactly. You usually don't have to kill yourself to do it. And they said, you know, we could have had Hunter Pence last year, but then we wouldn't have Marte right now. Nobody like Starling Marte was traded at the deadline. Yeah. Now, that might have been who was asked for 2 days before the deadline, but the general manager has to have the guts to wait up until the last minute.
Right, absolutely, and that's what I hope. I mean, I hope he. If we don't trade anybody, whatever, fine. Let's just play better. But you know, I just don't want to see us do well, and then we have nothing coming through the pipeline to replace the guys that we start to lose.
Right, I know what you mean. Well, I know, and anybody that's watched this show over the last number of years knows how I feel about Neil Huntington, and I feel a lot better right now with Bill Livesey, the assistant, looking over Neil Huntington's shoulder this trade deadline than I have previous trade deadlines. Let's put it that way.
I'll tell you one thing, though. Watching Giancarlo Stanton over the weekend, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's the real deal.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the guy hardly swings and that ball carries 400 feet.
He's a big fella,
Who said it? I don't know if it's Bob Walker. Somebody said it. He's a linebacker in a baseball player's uniform, something like that.
And it's unbelievable.
With the right-handed Dave Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, he's amazing. I mean, the thing was, you just every time he came up the bat, you're like, no, please don't hold anything over the plate. And he hit 3 of them. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. He did.
Hey, we got to run. Are you eligible this week?
I have no idea.
Okay, he's eligible. So let's give you a question. What would you like?
Let's try the Grand Salami again. I missed that last week.
All right, you have a choice between numbers 1 and 5.
Let's do 3.
Okay, number 3. Here we go. What major leaguer has the lowest batting average in the season, but he led the league in home runs? He had the lowest batting average of anyone who has ever won that year's home run title. You have 20 seconds, Rich.
Uh-oh.
Wow. I'm going to say Dave Kingham.
And you are absolutely correct.
How about that,
Dave Kingman.
That's why I said uh-oh.
Dave Kingman is our answer. Hey, we'll get all your information and get some great prizes out to you, including the Grand Salami itself. Rich, we got to run. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Great job. But we got to wrap it up. And we do. We got to wrap it up.
Yes,
Look at the old
indeed.
clock on the wall. George has been great. It always is. It's,
Okay.
Nice having you here.
Being here, good being here tonight.
By the time we're here next week, we're going to know a lot more about those Buccos, and we didn't even get into the Steelers at all.
That's for sure.
So let's do it. Billy Joe, great job back there tonight. And thanks to everybody for joining us here on Sportsline. I'm Mike Pavlik.
I'm George Guido.
Thanks for watching. Good night, everyone.
For watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Borough in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.